Good morning everyone, Bad Touch here. Today I'm going to show you a tutorial on how to use a mod that I created for Farming Simulator 19 called Field Status. And here I am out standing in my field. We'll go ahead and start. If you can see in the menu, you activate Field Status with the star key on the numpad. So we'll go ahead and do that, and it's going to read all of the fields, initialize them, and create the data file that we'll be using. Okay, the first thing I want to point out, you can see the mouse cursor moving around makes you kind of dizzy. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on the word frozen on the field status HUD, and that will keep the mouse from moving around while we're working here. Okay. First thing I want to show is like moving the HUD around and getting your bearings with using the HUD. This button right here, it's a freaky little icon that will allow you to move the HUD around anywhere that you like on the screen. The mod comes with 2 default positions, and you can create a 3rd position anywhere you like. And we'll go ahead and start with that. Click on that, and then you can just move the HUD around anywhere you like, and then click the mouse again, left click, and it will go ahead and stay there until you move it again. Another thing I want to show you, there's on the keyboard, the backslash key, which is just above the enter key, will let you tab between the different positions on the screen. There's the default position, and there's another alternate position, and this is the one that we just created. So, got that done. And also on the HUD, you can affect the transparency of it with the numpad minus and plus keys. So we hit the minus key until it's practically invisible, and then you can bring it back up. Just to let you know, you have that flexibility with it. All right, let's get started with the mod itself. Here's the question mark, which is the help screen. Bring this up. There's a few screens in here. I'll just tab through them real quick. They just show you the keyboard keys that you can use in the mod, and their equivalent icons if they have it. I want to show a little bit about navigation with the mod too. You notice when you hover over the screen number, it'll be previous or next screen. You can click that and it will go back one screen at a time. And you can double click it to make it go to the end or beginning of whichever screens that you're on. So we'll double click this and we'll go back to the beginning. All right, that's the help screen. And now I want to show you probably one of the screens that you'll be on the most if you're not just scanning fields. It's the config options, and it's a little wrench icon. You click on that and you have a whole list of different things that you can change in the mod. The first one will go through here, field display options. You can see when you hover over this, it will highlight the option. Click on field display options, and you can either check mark this box to show all statuses like that, or you can uncheck it and then just pick which statuses you want to actually see when you're scanning. I will just click these right here. I want to see those also. Okay. And another important point, when you're changing anything on the config screen, you will want to make sure you save the config file, this little floppy disk icon over here. Make sure and save your changes. Very important. Okay, to give you a little message there, and you click this to close it and go back to where we were. Okay, there is an auto scan feature in the mod, and we'll show you that a little later. There are 2 different scans that you can choose. Let's go back to the main menu. There's a default scan with this button here, and then I'm calling it a custom scan. You can set either one up however you want. But there's two different ways to scan without having to constantly go in and change your options. Okay, let's go back to the config options. And then we'll have the default scan, the custom scan, and then you can create custom scan lists of different fields if you don't want to scan all fields, especially with farmlands set up and on a big map like this one, the PV County map. You can set up certain list of fields that you want to scan for. Fruit list, you can either scan for all or set up a list of certain ones to look for. The growth threshold we'll talk about later. And then you can do different options for these to set up options with the HUD, and we'll talk about those. Bale scanning, whether you want to scan for them every time or not, and whether you show the tooltips, which are just these little things when you hover over. Okay, let's go ahead and go into our default scan. And you see here you can select, at this point, you can select between a scan type and the fruit list. Okay, we'll go into scan type, and these are your choices: all fields, fields that you own, fields that you do not own, or you can set up a custom scan. And let's go ahead and do that right now. We'll click custom, close this out, and with custom we have a new option here, a scan list. Okay, and by default there is one list which doesn't have anything in it. It's basically all fields. The mod will just scan all fields if there's nothing in it. Okay. Another thing I want to point out, if you want to create your own list of fields to scan, you can click this little icon here. It will create a new list, and we can go ahead and check it to make it active. And then we can edit it. And here's another thing that's important to remember. I try to avoid any conflicts with using the number keys above the letters, because they control the vehicles and time scale and things like that. So I decided to use the numpad keys for entering field numbers. You can only enter them on the numpad key. So let's say we want to scan for fields 12, 45, and 77. And we'll just enter them like that. Check the check mark. And now you see our list 2, which is active, has those 3 fields in it. Okay, we'll be sure and save our config file. Exit out, and go back to the main menu. Now that we've set those options up on the default scan, we will go ahead and do that. And it comes up with these 2 fields. If the little HUD that you see come up over there, that shows when if you're not scanning for all the statuses for a field, that one will come up as a nice little feature to show you everything that it found on that field. Since we only chose to show certain statuses, it's going to be a brief display. So you hover over the field number, and it will show you everything that you did not display. Okay? And because of our list that we limited the fields that we scanned, that's why there's only that many. Okay. Let's go into config options again. And the custom scan has the same options as the default scan. Like I say, it's just going to have a convenient way to have 2 different scan buttons on the main menu. So those would be set up the same way. All right. Fruit lists. The default list, again, will just scan for all fruits. So if we want to go down here and create a new list, we can edit this new list. And let's say we just want to scan for wheat. And let's go over to the second screen and get another one. Wheat and carrot. Okay, so we'll check mark that. And now we see list 2 has wheat and carrot in it. Okay, let's go back and change our default scan. Click on fruit list, and we'll click that. on list 2 to make that scan for wheat and carrot. And go back, be sure and save our config file. So now the default scan will only scan for those 3 fields that we entered, 12, 45, and 77, and it will only scan for wheat and carrot. Let's go ahead and hit scan and see what it finds. So in this case, it only found 1 field with either wheat or carrot on it. And that's what showed up as a result of the scan. Okay. Let's go back into config. And let's see what I need to show you here. I'll go ahead and show you the growth threshold. The best way to explain this is to just give you an example. Let's go ahead and make it active. And let's just leave the fruit list at the default, which is all fruits. And let's go ahead and click percentage and we'll change that. This is let's see, we go through, there's 1 through 20, and then it goes in 5 increments up until 95. Let's go ahead and set our percentage at 5%. Okay. So we've got the growth threshold active. It'll scan for all fruits. And we got a percentage at 5%. And what that means is if there's anything on the field we're scanning for that has a growth of less than 5%, it will not show that. So that's how that works. So now we're going to go in and change. I'm going to change some stuff up here to show you how that works, because I know where some of that growth threshold would work. Let's edit our list 2 here. Let's erase those. And we'll put in field 24. Oh, let me show you something else real quick. When you're entering fields, you can also enter a range of fields. Let's say we want to enter 24 through 30. We can enter 24 and then on the keyboard, a colon, 30. And then when we click OK, it will show you that it entered all of those fields sequentially from 24 to 30. So that's just another tip on how to enter those fields like that. All right, for this purpose, we're only going to enter 24. Click OK. That's list 2. Has field 24 in it. The fruit list, we're going to go back to our default fruit. And we're going to save that. Now, how the growth threshold works, we have it set up as active. So we're going to do our scan for only field 24. And here's what shows up. It says it's got onion, ready to harvest, and fertilized. It's 100% fertilized, and it needs lime. Okay. When you hover over the field number, you can see all the statuses that we're not showing, that we decided not to see on the main display. Okay. You can see over there, there's one, the harvested percent of 1.63% that's not showing. That's the reason it's not showing is because we have the growth threshold set on. Okay, because we said we don't want to see anything below 5%. And since it's at 1.63, that's why it's not showing. Let's go back into the config options, and we'll turn the growth threshold off, save it, go back to the main screen and scan again, and now we'll see our harvested amount. So that's basically what growth threshold is. If you don't want your screen cluttered with small amounts of growth on the field, that's what that's for. All right. Let me go ahead and show you. Let me do a full scan of all fields. We'll click all. And the fruit list is all. So we'll save that. I want to do a full scan and show you another feature of the display. I really like the scanning on Farming Simulator 19 because it took a long time in my previous versions. And on this big map, PV County, it's a 16x map with 95 fields, and it scans them all like in about 3 or 4 seconds at most. So I really like the scanning speed. Okay, what I was going to show you now is on the numpad key, the slash at the top of the keypad. If you toggle that, you can toggle between percentages and the area, either acres or hectares, whichever one you choose to display. So the percent key on the numpad will toggle between those two values. I personally prefer to see the percentages, but it's up to you. That's why I put that option in there if you want to see that. Okay. Another feature you might have already noticed on the HUD here is an auto scan. And again, you can go into the config options and configure that. You can make it active or not. You can change the frequency of how often it scans. This is in minutes, I'm sorry. It's in minutes. And you can also change the scan type and fruit list just like the other scan types. What I wanted to show you about the auto scan is you don't have to go into config to turn it on and off. You can just turn it on and off here by clicking on the word up here. So turn it on, and it's set for 5 minutes right now. It will automatically scan whatever your options are set up to every 5 minutes. So let's turn it off. Just wanted to show you that feature. Okay. Another feature that's not quite exactly working like it was in previous versions, but I left it in here anyway because it's useful for a couple of things. It's called the map overlay, and you can access that by hitting the enter key on the numpad. So you hit the enter key on the numpad. Let's go ahead and turn field status off so you can see that. It's basically it's kind of like a squashed version of the map that Giant shows when you hit the escape key. What I wanted to show you in here, though, was the there's 3 bales on a field that I was working on in the southeast corner, like below field 55. And so the bales will show up as little yellow squares on the map on this overlay with the numpad enter key. You can see in the upper left, it shows you how many bales and how many are on fields and how many are off fields. And the message up in the upper right corner will tell you how to disable it, which we'll do. Just turn that back off. Okay, we'll turn field status back on. And let's see what else I need to show you. I showed you moving the HUD, the scans, the config. Did I show everything on the config? Well, you can go in here, you can decide whether you can change the options for this frozen message up here, which is, since I turned field status off and back on, it's defaulted to not frozen. So we will click this again so it'll be frozen. But you can change the options for that. You can even change what color you want the message to be, just like the map overlay message, you can change that color. All right. I think pretty much everything I've covered on here, basically anyway. One icon you might have noticed that I haven't mentioned yet is this little icon next to the help screen menu. Now this icon, this version that I'm showing you is a beta version. It's not the production version yet. But also this icon for player likes and dislikes, it will only show up in multiplayer. It will not show up if you're just playing single player. So just be aware of that. If you get the mod and use it and you say, where's the little icon, the blue icon? Okay, so we'll go ahead and click this. This is just a fun thing that I put in for multiplayer. I was playing on a server years ago and we put something in just to fool around and have fun. So we click on that and it'll have the player's name and it'll put 2 likes and 2 dislikes. And it's just random stuff that I put in there. There's nothing, it's PG rated, so And then this was supposed to be my attempt at creating a shuffle button. So if you click that, it'll just pick new options at random. So that's all it is. It was just something to kid around with. All right. I believe that's all. I've showed the basic ways to use field status and maybe hopefully some features that you didn't know about if you've used it before. And I was just going to let you know, I will put when I get a production version, I'll put a link down in the description for you to download field status. And also want to let you know that I will also have a link in the description for where you can get the PV County map for Farming Simulator 19. It is made by Dajnet Mods, and their website is pvmods.com. I will put a link down there so that you can go check out their wonderful map, this wonderful map that I'm playing on here. And that's about it. If you have any questions that I missed or you would like to know, please leave them down in the comment down in the description, and I will see you soon.